Hey everyone, welcome on this Monday, 11th of November, week 46, I think. We're going to be talking about last week's SEO news, the most important ones, at least, that we have gathered here in a beautiful sheet. My co host Casper is going to be with
Hello.
us, and he's actually going to start. He's got two sweet news he's going to share. So, yeah, just jump in.
Yes. So the first one here is a guide to how we want to work with different synergies between now. Normally, when we work with SEO, we think about Google, we think about Bing and the search engine there. That's the most common thing. But there is a lot to be done on a lot of social media platforms, such as LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, you name it. And this is basically a guide about how you do it and how you want to make sure that you have an omni-channel approach also when it comes to SEO, and not just think about, okay, we have these different channels here, but we're not really thinking in terms of connecting these through SEO. So this is a really good guide to how you do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's also something that taps a lot into. We see both social media platforms, like branded social media platforms, being viewed more in SERPs as well. We see it in AI overviews. We see it in ChatGPT Search as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a lot of this that kind of ties into that, and I think it's interesting to look at.
Perfect. Thank you. And yeah, I think especially the ones that also rank in Google, like YouTube ranks in Google, obviously owned by Google, but Pinterest boards ranks for like inspirational, like really high. If you have mastered Pinterest and your products and all your images and whatever is on those boards that rank well, that's a lot of referral traffic. I know websites who gets a third of the traffic from Pinterest. I think they're experimenting with Twitter and TikTok as well. And then, of course, we've got Reddit, which is technically a website, but I consider that a Quora and Reddit are like other platforms. And there's a huge talk about also like, okay, Reddit marketing for brands. What should we do here? Because being present you will actually be seen by a lot more people now that Reddit is ranking for, yeah, tons of things.
Exactly, and like it's a lot of people usually see Pinterest and these different platforms as social media platforms, and don't know really that you can actually optimize towards these because it is a search engine. So
Mm,
Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube, you name it, that's search engines as well. So you can definitely do a lot of these different things on those platforms, and especially connecting them to your website. As you say, it's referral traffic. Why not use it?
there you go. Exactly. Great. Let's jump to the next one here.
The next one, really interesting, and I'm not sure if I'm shocked, but it's really interesting that SearchGPT values Bing over Google. So Bing results are shown more in SearchGPT for when you, for instance, want to compare companies, you want to compare something, and it needs to give you some resources or some sources there. There's been studies that shows that Bing results actually is the foundation for if you get what's it called, like if you actually get shown in these search GPT or not Google but Bing.
Yeah, well,
And
you would you be surprised to say I think OpenAI and Microsoft they used to have a deal. I think they broke up, or at least they've been working tightly together. So there's some behind the scenes stuff. Just like when Reddit started signing a contract with Google for selling data, could be for training AIs, whatever it is, they're selling their data directly to Google, and suddenly they spiked in the search results. Super fun, huh? Super weird. What a coincidence.
what a coincidence. Yeah, exactly. I'm not really sure if I'm surprised by it, but I just think that a lot of people don't really recognize Bing as like a serious competitor to Google in that thing. Like the market
Mm-hmm.
value of Google, or market share of Google is way higher. So people, when they talk about SEO and when they talk about optimizing towards the search engine, they talk about optimizing towards Google. Now there is some relevancy about actually going into Bing, actually making sure that you're indexed there, actually making sure that everything is set up correctly in Bing, because if you want to tap into a little bit of that search traffic from LLMs,
Mm-hmm.
you should definitely
Yep.
consider Bing.
Brush off the old dust of the Bing webmaster tools.
Exactly.
Like,
Bing is going to be king.
if you're not indexed in Bing, you will not appear in SearchGPT, by the way. So take note of that. And yeah, yeah. And again, I think Bing from memory is like the B2B. Like a lot of companies have it internally. So there's a bunch of B2B sites that will prioritize it over Google. But when it comes to actual user base, yeah, it's much bigger Google. So, but yeah, interesting stuff. And SearchGPT and all the other LLM search machines, answer machines as they call them, will follow up on that. Just subscribe, and like the video. We'll keep you updated. Don't you worry. Thank you, Casper. Very interesting. A lot more interesting stuff will come on this. And here, some perhaps less interesting news. But I really like this. There's a new tool for showcasing or visualizing your CrUX data. We used to have the Looker Studio report. There's a free connector. You put in your website, it creates a report. Very standard report, but pretty good for capturing and seeing your CrUX and your core vital data essentially over time. But you still have to create the report and share it with your clients. And here we now have this where you simply just input your domain and you can start seeing it immediately. And I think this is, we could say, oh, the report is great. But I feel like here it is a better visualization that looks a bit like the one we saw in Search Console. And not only that, if I want to compare it to competitors, I can do it super fast. And that's nice because I don't have to create 20 reports. I can actually go in and quickly see what's going on with competitors. Maybe even do some more like deeper analysis or impact analysis where I include competitors and their metrics over time. So just really, really cool tool. Have a look at it. It's thanks. Thank you, Google.
It's much easier.
It is.
Much easier.
Yeah. And screenshot it for your presentations. Wink, wink. And then a small A/B SEO test here or analysis from Search Pilot. They tried to remove category content to improve rankings, and it worked. So again, just to clarify, there's a category. We've got products. There's an FAQ at the bottom and some text. They removed that text, and it helped. It improved rankings. So the question is, should we do that for all? No. As usual, it depends. I hate to say that, but if you have low quality content, just filler content, that might be worth looking into testing and removing. And first do a test for your client, then if it works, you can do it for the rest of the site. But if you have really, really good quality content, maybe it's very useful. Maybe there's some internal links that can help users actually, purchase or choose. Maybe don't delete it, or at least test, I would say. So again, I think it depends here, but it shows that sometimes cleaning up websites, whether it's removing pages, removing low quality pages or content, can improve rankings. Again, Google will try and judge your entire domain. Let's give it the best, most of the best, right?
Yeah, I think it's like the essential thing here is that Google obviously values, or search engines, let's not leave out Bing now that we had the news before, but search engines value good content and then no content, because no content is better than bad content apparently. I think it's in that sense. Like
we can't say that either. We can't say that either because the problem is sometimes just it still works to put in like filler crap content on category pages. That still sometimes works. So again, Search Pilot, I think, is actually what they do with their platform is A/B testing. So the importance of testing is what I think we can draw from this. But the importance of testing, removing and adding, I think, is what we're clearing up here. So yeah, just be a little open-minded. Don't always follow the ad content to improve rankings, especially if it's bad. A small tip here, the Ahrefs site structure report is awesome. Thank you, Lily Ray. She shared this. Basically shows you all the folders of your website sections, so to speak, and then how they're performing. So you can quickly see if something's dropping, etc. Which again, Google can judge sections of your site. It used to do that for the HU update, apparently. So if you're off topic, too off topic of your main topic, it might actually judge that section poorly. Forbes and their dumb best toaster articles hopefully should get a hit soon. We're not really sure, but yeah, that report is just very nice. So go and check it out. It's dope. Then Mr. I'm going to butcher his name here, Gianluca Fiorelli, who is basically, I think, one of the best SEOs when it comes to international SEO, like big multi-market websites. He's one of the big baddest boys out there. He published the only hreflang guide you need. So bookmark it, have a look at it. You can't go wrong with him when it comes to international SEO. And yeah, there's enough hreflang guides, but I'm going to bet my ass it's the best one. Next up, we have from sources around the web. So if you've seen that snippet in the top of Google, there's like small cards with list of things to do. It's apparently, thanks to Lily Ray doing a little bit of a checkup on some keywords, it's showing jokes from Quora. So it's taking some Quora answers and just putting them up as like legitimate stuff. Pretty scary because again, Google has been putting a lot of focus on forums, especially Reddit, and it is great. There's plenty of good answers, but We don't know who answered it. We don't know if it's a medical question. Are you going to trust a Reddit user? He could be a doctor. It could be somebody else. And not only that, they really like to joke. The example here was, what should I do on a first date in blah, blah, blah town? And one of them was like kayak through this river, which apparently is one of the most polluted rivers in the United States. So somebody was joking when they put that answer in, but Google just threw it up as a as an idea. So, Google, if you're listening, probably not, but if you are, maybe vet a little bit better. I love to do jokes for fun on these platforms as well.
It's kind of deja vu to when AI reviews and SGE like kind of come into it, where you also saw these like crazy
Yeah, take a toaster
crazy
bath. Take a
responses.
bath with a toaster if you're depressed. Was one
Yeah,
of the
exactly.
answers.
Yeah, some of these things where it was from Reddit as well, I think, and from these forums, and it was just crazy. And it was like, well, a lot of people joked with it as well, but like essentially could have like serious consequences.
Yeah, a toaster bath is pretty serious, I would say. Uh, all right, next up, low key, big deal I wrote because I feel like it's kind of a like, oh, by the way, Google is testing or trying this reviewed by snippet. So we have author snippet, star rating, all these small snippets, and the reviewed by snippet, I think like it's just flying under the radar, like, oh, cool. But I always see this as, oh, Google might be shifting focus towards reviewed by, perhaps for your money or your life website. So the ones that are, medical queries, financial, the the fact that they're creating a snippet for it and showing it, I think shows focus, whether it's now or in the future. Not saying we should have all of our content reviewed by some expert, but if you have a writer that's already an expert, that's good. I think for medical, the holy grail of optimization of content is like you can have a writer that's a medical writer, but then you have a doctor that reviews it. And I think that will become more important in the future. So you just put that on a dashboard somewhere. If you can find that, you don't have to have an internal expert review. You can have a collaboration with an external one who might have a website. There could be a quid pro quo, whatever it is, the strategy is sound. So, yeah.
So I guess it also makes it more important to actually show credentials for these, both the writer and the reviewer, right? So they need
Yep.
to have some sort of credentials in regards to either an author page, or I should say a external website that kind of just shows, why are you the expert in
Yep.
this? If it's medical field, like, why should I trust you
Mhm.
specifically? You're a doctor, all of these different things. Have you published something else? Have you reviewed a lot of different things that are being generally acknowledged as good content as well? And this sort of thing, it just highlights the importance of actually showing
Yeah.
credential for this.
A great example is scientific journalists, which they know about science, they know the basics, they know enough to write about it, and they are experienced in it. They sometimes misconstrue information to a point where it's like, oh, we've created a wormhole in a lab, and it's like, and I've seen reactions of real scientists saying that's not really what happened. So again, could we have a real scientist review it? Maybe there's no need for it, but it's definitely would make me trust it more. So yeah, there's a big gap between just being a medical writer, journalist, and actually being the person who did the research. Next up, we've got the dreaded glove. I wrote glove, but it's actually globe. The globe favicon. So if Google will refer, Google's default favicon is the globe, and they recently changed their documentation on this. And before it was 8x8 pixels, now it's minimum 48 to 48 pixels. Some people, including Mary Haynes, has seen getting this globe, and she changed her size to 96 times 96 pixels, and it came back. So again, Google is just prioritizing, I think, higher quality. Not sure why, but maybe on mobile, they're trying to visualize it. Whatever it is, first of all, check your client's favicons. They can improve CTR across every page that ranks, so that's important. And if you get the default one, try and up your size. That's really the tip here. A really cool list of the 196 SEO experts to follow that was shared by Mr. Gianluca. There we go. Fiorelli. It's a nice name. So yeah, a really good list. I probably follow most of those on Twitter. I'm gonna have to look through it. I think they're really worth following on Twitter. It's the place where you get small gold nuggets, conversations going. My dream is to be on that list one day, or maybe just make the list up to 1,000. Then I could be included for some reason. But yeah, I don't post too much, except for now. And then a really cool thread here on Twitter as well on Glenn Gabe. He's tracking I think 400 sites that were hit by the helpful content update back in September 2013. And it's quite interesting. So I'm not going to go too deep into that, but the conclusion here is there's been some volatility. So there was a recent core update. Some people gained and then lost. Some people didn't gain. Some people dropped after it. Basically, I think what he's saying is there's a lot of volatility in this, and I don't think Google has quite nailed the helpful content update and how it actually tries to evaluate sites, because some of them are really good content, it seems. Some of them have tried really hard after they got hit and still got nothing, and some have done nothing and gained. So it seems like there's no true pattern to this, and I think that's still a fair conclusion to have. And it's just pointing fingers at Google and saying, hey, you're not really doing a good job, especially when you think Forbes are experts in toasters.
Yeah,
please.
we can kind of expect a lot more updates in the next coming years, I suppose.
Yeah, the fact that he's
Until
tracking,
actually made it.
yeah, the fact that he's tracking those sites is just interesting. And Glenn Gabe is definitely one of the guys we need to follow. He's probably on the list above as well. So I'll follow him and keep you guys updated. But my personal website, shamelessly, I'm going to plug hypeandstyle.fr. I do watch reviews, just a side hustle. I guess I like watches, but it got hit a little bit by HU, I feel like, last year. And after the August core update in this year, it saw I doubled traffic. So it was really, something happened, and it wasn't me. It was just boom, double in traffic. And it's been steady ever since. And I believe my content is better than what was outranking me. It's personal, my own images. It's really me writing it. I am the expert. So I feel like they actually did nail it with my website. So, it's hard for me to complain personally, but yeah, a lot of us don't feel the same way. Lastly, but not least here, how to rank in the Google organic product grids, which apparently, according to Brody SEO, another guy you should be following, is the big opportunity for e-commerce in 2025. And I'm not going to go into detail on this. There'll be a link in the description. Actually, all of these news will be in the video description with links and context. So you can listen to this video and then follow and read up on these things. But essentially, he's got a YouTube video on how to rank for these product grids. So just bookmark it, watch it, and apply it, and get successful in the SEO game.
I think this one is really, really, really interesting. Like really interesting, and it definitely also with AI overviews and how we've seen in the US how products especially are being portrayed in the SERPs. I think this is an alpha omega. I think it's really, really, really important for e-commerces, at least, to consider this and make sure that it's actually updated. Yep. Like it's you won't feature.
Yep.
Let's just say it like that. You won't feature if this is not correctly set up, basically.
Exactly. So. And yes, I did put it as important must read, the highest level of importance of prioritization. So
the most important one. Yeah, but it is really like if you're in e-commerce and you don't really do this and you don't focus on this, you'll lose a lot of traffic, especially with the AI overviews and what comes into Google as well and how they portray it, because Google won't portray your products as an organic product if you don't have this sorted out, basically. Like it's as simple as that.
It's a must read. It's a must read.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Casper, for joining and discussing these news, which I feel is more important than just sending a list. I think the context of the discussion is what makes this valuable. If you like it, like the video. If you don't like it, don't do anything. Comments if you want anything different, formats, whatever you like, and subscribe, and you'll keep being posted every week with this. Try to keep the format down to 20 minutes per video, and I will also upload a lot more guides on stuff that I think is important in the future. So, give me a like and subscribe, and have a lovely day.